They break cast iron bars on their heads, resist the strongest pain, or walk barefoot on pieces of glass. If you want to know everything about these superhuman superheroes, this is where it all happens. Here are 8 incredible things that Shaolin monks do that no one in the world can beat. From their humble beginnings in the heart of China, in the Henan province, the culture of the Shaolin monks has never ceased to push the limits of the human body and mind. Shaolin monks are known to achieve incredible feats. These feats are mainly centered on techniques of balance, defense, attack, endurance, and especially resistance to pain. In short, these human beings are superhuman. If a prima ballerina balancing on the tips of her toes leaves you stunned, it's because you've never heard of the diamond finger exercise before. Here is an even more difficult exercise, which the Shaolin monks perform: fingers in the nose. It is well known that for some time now, Shaolin has been able to balance on only 2 index fingers, which in itself is a real feat. But recently, they have developed this technique to balance on only 1 index finger. Well, not all monks indeed have this ability, few of them can achieve it. The forerunner of this technique was called Hal Tank. He was one of the few monks who managed to demonstrate this incredible skill: a reverse pressure on the top of an index finger for more than 10 seconds. Normally, the weak muscles of the index finger should wrinkle under the weight of the monk and the bones should break under the strain. But Hal Tank was able to do it, hands down, without any pain. While he was practicing this incredible posture, he was impressed by his composure and impassibility. The monk swung without flinching on the tip of his finger, and while meditating also. And to make you feel even worse, Hal Tank did this when he was 90 years old. And if you like this video, don't forget to give us a like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell to receive all notifications and not miss out on any of our upcoming content. When you do your weekly yoga session, do you feel rusty like a piece of junk? Well, take a look at the following. You might feel even worse. Stretching has been an integral part of the training instilled in Shaolin monks for thousands of years. These types of exercises, which at first glance seem feasible by any athlete, are, contrary to appearances, extremely difficult to perform. They involve opening up the hips and warming up the leg muscles and are not only beneficial to their health and well-being, but they are also incredible to watch. While some poses may seem easy to perform, others will leave you speechless. Their flexibility is unlike anything you've ever seen before. The way the Shaolin monks twist and contort their bodies as if they were marshmallow paste is truly amazing. At the heart of their usual stretches are basic kung fu movements that help to show the monks' incredible techniques. Their stretching programs are so well known and reputable that other monks have taken up the game and have begun to integrate their movements into their training. However, we strongly advise you not to do the same, as you may get stuck and you will not know which saint you should devote yourself to. If there is an unbearable pain that only men know, it is the very painful blow in the crotch. All men without exception, whether they are weak or very strong, have felt this intense pain that invades the back and stomach. Sometimes, if the blow is intense, the glands rich in blood vessels and nerves are damaged and the victim requires an emergency car. On the other hand, since monks are not like ordinary people, this pain is very bearable, if not non-existent. You would be impressed to see a monk totally imperturbable to the reception of a blow in his private parts, whatever its intensity. In the art of kung fu, this practice has a name. It is called the Iron Crotch. This practice consists of strengthening to protect the male genitalia to limit the risk of injury during fights. The technique consists of moving the testicles upwards so that they are well protected. This requires initial training from a very young age, always starting with intense meditation. Then the training moves on to harder methods. They have to learn to endure being hit with rolling pins, punches, kicks and even blows from weapons directly into the private parts. The more experienced among them even tie ropes around their testicles and then pull heavy weights over long distances to push their limits even further. In Laos, while a group of climbers was struggling to climb a steep-sided mountain, a monk quietly walked past them. He climbed the rock face barefoot and on tiptoe with all the ease of the world. The shocked and amazed climbers had a hard time realizing what was happening before their eyes. The monk climbed the rock face as if they were simple stairs, while they had a hard time getting out of it, even with all the climbing equipment they had at their disposal. One of the main characteristics of Shaolin monks, and probably the most surprising of all, is their incredible ability to endure any pain. In a normal human being, pain allows the body to react quickly to protect itself from events that could damage or endanger it. For the Shaolin monks, it's a different story. For them, pain is a very abstract concept. And for good reason. They are taught from the very beginning to tame pain until they no longer feel it. And their secret is meditation. Shaolin monks give a clear impression of not feeling pain or very little. They break bricks on their head, touch hot objects, hold themselves in a horizontal position on a point placed at the level of the stomach. All this without feeling the slightest unpleasant sensation. While their extraordinary ability to free themselves from pain remains a bit mysterious, some scientists nevertheless admit that the practice of meditation could reduce the sensations of pain. In fact, several scientific studies have demonstrated the effectiveness of meditation on slowing down the heart rate or relaxing the muscles, and more recently, on a decrease in pain signals in the brain through meditation. Then associated with several other abilities such as speed, developed muscles, or flexibility, you can imagine the impressive things they are capable of achieving. For example, in Thailand, a Buddhist monk was filmed meditating in a gigantic pot of boiling oil, while remaining placid. His only protection was a layer of grass spread at the bottom of the pot to avoid direct contact with it. We all know that immortality does not exist in human beings. But the question is, are Shaolin monks normal human beings? This one will definitely paralyze you with amazement. Look at this monk. Would you believe me if I told you that he is now deceased? Does it make your blood run cold? It's normal, you are human, but we don't know if he is or not. The Buddhist monk Dashi Dorju officially died 93 years ago in Buryatia, a region of Siberia. In 1927, before he died, the Buddhist monk gathered his disciples together, invited them to pray for him, then took the lotus posture and began meditation. Before drawing his last breath, the monk asked to be exhumed 30 years after his death. Following his last wishes, his disciples put him in a pine box while maintaining the same posture, filled it with salt, and buried it in a cemetery. When his body was exhumed 28 years later and not 30 as he had demanded, it was subjected to analysis. What was not their surprise when they found that the monk's joints seemed mobile, his skin elastic, and that heat seemed to emanate from his chest. Even more surprising, the body was still intact. Indeed, Dashi Dorju's body mysteriously did not begin the natural process of decomposition. A forensic expert who was entrusted with the analysis of the body confirmed that his head resembled that of a living person, his internal organs were normal and his eyes were full of life. The director of the Pandito Kambo Lama Itajilov Institute said that at first, they thought it was a joke of the Buddhists. However, nothing allowed the experts to declare the monk still alive. Indeed, the analysis of his skin revealed a high bromine content, 40 times higher than normal, while his body temperature was below 20 degrees, which is irrefutable proof of death. On the other hand, the monks and all the faithful who go on pilgrimage to his grave affirm that the monk is still alive. For them, he has continued to gain weight, and that the humidity emanating from his body only reinforces the thesis of his life. According to them, the monk is simply plunged into a state of meditation so deep that one would think he is dead. Scientists have found a plausible explanation for this incredible phenomenon. According to them, the monk would have consumed large quantities of legumes which have a high concentration of bromine, a chemical element acting as an antioxidant capable of suppressing the sensitivity of the organism, limiting the impact of external stimuli, while having no influence on the functioning of the part of the brain controlling respiration and blood circulation. The monk would therefore have resorted to self-hypnosis and would have finally deactivated the vital functions of his organism, after which death would have occurred. So, do you think he died or is he still meditating? Maybe I should finally go back to grandma's cassoulet, who knows? Resisting the most unbearable pain, entering into deep meditation, breaking bricks with bare hands, until then one made up one's mind and tried to bring rational explanations to what monks do. But from there, lighting a fire without bricks, without matches, but simply with the warmth of their bodies, let us tell you that we are stunned. And yes, Shaolin monks are able to control not only the pain but also the warmth of their bodies. They can turn it up and down as if it were an electric oven. The monks use a technique known as Ji Tum Mo, commonly known as mud breathing, as well as the visual concentration technique. Mud breathing is a specific breathing technique that causes thermogenesis, a process of heat production. Combined, these two techniques cause the monks to enter a state of deep meditation and thus considerably increase the heat in their bodies, especially in their fingers and toes. Thus, this ability allows them to heal their ailments, anxiety, depression, insomnia, infertility, high blood pressure, irregular heartbeat. It also allows them to increase their immunity, to evacuate stress, or to overcome grief. On a more practical note, they use this technique to light fires with their hands alone and even to dry wet sheets in a matter of seconds. Terribly strange but very practical. This sequence will show you that Shaolin monks definitely have a rage to win and that their fighting spirit is simply unbeatable. One of the most important lessons that Shaolin monks are taught from an early age is that they should never give up a fight, and that physical injury should not be an obstacle to victory. This is exactly what this Shaolin monk showed us as he confronted an MMA fighter in the ring. During the fight, the monk Yi Long received a series of punches from his opponent. Determined not to let himself be beaten down, the monk blamed the blows by doing everything possible not to end up on the ground. While all the viewers expected him to give up, the monk was left marbled by his opponent's blows. And against everyone's expectations, he rushed at his opponent and continued his fight without even catching his breath. We don't know who it was that ended up knocked out in between, but I think it's not so hard to guess. So, what do you think of these 8 incredible practices of the Shaolin monks? Which one impresses you the most? Tell us what you think in the comments.